In the heart of a small provincial town, there lived a boy named Tommy. He was curious and dreamed of adventures, but he never imagined that one ordinary evening his life would change forever. One day, when Tommy was walking down the street, he noticed an old, abandoned house. Out of curiosity, he decided to look inside. The door creaked as he entered, and his eyes opened to the magic that was hidden inside. By chance, Tommy discovered a wonderful book in the dusty attic of his house. Its mysterious cover and unusual illustrations fired his imagination. It turned out that these are descriptions of various fabulous creatures. He felt that this book was riveted to him, that it opened up a world of incredible possibilities and adventures for him. It was more than just a story from a book, it was his destiny. As he immersed himself in reading, Tommy noticed a card of a special creature called a Gnomocraps. The picture showed him in a magical forest, surrounded by trees and a mysterious light. Tommy ran to the window and looked out at the dreary town. He thought about what would happen if he could go to a real magical forest and meet this marvelous creature. Tommy went to the library to look for information about Gnomocraps. He looked through the books and his eyes stopped on an old fairy tale about a magic forest. The book said that Gnomocraps only lived on another planet, but there was a way to get there. Their world is filled with magic and riddles, and the fairy creatures are waiting for someone to come and solve their riddles. Tommy returned home and told his parents about his findings. At first, they didn't believe him, thinking it was just a child's fantasy. But after seeing his burning eyes and hearing his stories about magical creatures and other planets, they decided to help him find his way to another planet. The parents decided to embark on the adventure because they believed in magic with their son and didn't want to limit his imagination. They set about studying scientific literature and finding a way to get to another planet. Tommy traveled with his parents to a local laboratory, where a famous scientist was developing a device to travel between planets. The scientist, named Professor Garrett, was passionate about science and believed deeply in the existence of other worlds. When Tommy and his parents explained their desires to him, the professor excitedly agreed to help them. He showed them his completed model of a transporter, a device that could transport people to another planet. Tommy and his parents stood excitedly in front of the transporter car, ready to begin their adventure. They had brought a few useful items with them: flashlights, a map, and a storybook to be ready for any situation. They hugged each other, held hands, and bravely entered the car. At full speed, the transporter took them to another planet. They found themselves in a marvelous forest where everything was like a fairy tale. Tall trees stretched to the sky, bright sunlight streamed through the foliage, and the air was filled with the scent of flowers. There were magical creatures at every turn: bunnies with pink wings, flower elves, and songbirds with unusual plumage. In search of Gnomocraps, Tommy and his family traveled through the forest, spotted a kingdom of elves, made friends with kind fairies, and helped quill centaur-like creatures. Each encounter brought new experiences and amazing stories. They learned about the magical properties of plants, listened to birdsong, which helped them find their way in the labyrinth of the forest. Finally, they found a settlement of Gnomocraps. The Gnomocraps were small creatures with wings who were very happy to receive visitors from another world. They showed Tommy and his family their cozy huts and grottos, told them about their history and how they feared that their world might be destroyed by the development of the wrong forces. The Gnomocraps were happy to meet the humans who cared for them and came to help. The Gnomocraps showed Tommy and his family their home and grottos, told them about their history and how they feared their world might be destroyed by the development of negative forces. The Gnomocraps were happy to meet people who cared about them and came to help. Tommy and his family listened attentively and realized that they needed to do something to protect the Gnomocraps world from danger. As a determined boy, Tommy offered to help the Gnomocraps preserve their world. He shared with them the knowledge of his parents and the ideas he had developed throughout his adventures. He offered to use his parents' knowledge and scientific technology to keep the planet safe. Together with the Gnomocraps, they began to develop a plan that would allow them to keep their planet safe from outside threats. With the help of a scientist, Tommy's parents came up with a plan to protect the planet Gnomocraps. They developed a protective shield that could repel any negative influences from the outside world. This shield would protect the world of Gnomocraps from the destructive force that could come from the outside world. Everyone came together to realize this idea, and the shield was to be installed on the planet Gnomocraps. Tommy, along with his parents, returned to Earth to gather all the necessary equipment to install the shield on the planet Gnomocraps. They visited Professor Garrett's lab, where they fabricated special devices and assembled a team of experts to assist them in installing the shield. The team was made up of scientists, engineers, and other professionals who were passionate about science and contributing to the progress and well-being of the planets. The installation of the shield on the planet was a success, thanks to the efforts of Tommy and his parents, as well as the team. The planet of the Gnomocraps was protected from any potential dangers from the outside. As a token of their gratitude, the Gnomocraps showed Tommy and his family their amazing world full of magic and friendship. Tommy was delighted and grateful to be able to help these little creatures and become their true friend. Tommy and his family spent several days on the planet Gnomocraps, enjoying the beauty and magic of this world. They met other fabulous creatures, visited amazing places, and learned about the traditions and customs of the Gnomocraps. Each day was filled with adventure and new discoveries. But all good things come to an end. It was time for Tommy and his family to return to Earth. The Gnomocraps saw them off with tears in their eyes, thanking them for their help and friendship. They hugged their new friends and promised to return if only they were given the chance. Tommy and his family stepped over the threshold of the transporter device and found themselves at home. They were filled with memories of the beautiful and magical planet of Gnomocraps. Tommy's parents thanked him for believing in his dreams and helping to protect others. The return to Earth seemed disappointing to the boy. He missed the magical forest, the kind fairies, and the glowing Gnomocraps. But Tommy realized that he could find his adventures right here on his home planet. He began writing his own stories about Gnomocraps and other magical creatures to share his experiences with other children and inspire them to have their own fantastic adventures. Tommy realized that the power of imagination and belief in magic stayed with him no matter where he was. He continued to explore and dream, striving to create his own world full of magic and kind creatures. Along with the new friends he found on Earth, Tommy set out on new adventures, knowing that he could always return to the world of Gnomocraps in his fantasy.